When the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, begins to spread the message of Islam, he's not just offering the world guidance on the oneness of God or the reality of an afterlife. He comes in and transforms society. And for women, their lives change forever. In a world where women were inherited like property by male family members, where they would never be able to inherit, where the thought of divorce was inconceivable, and where her life, if it was taken, wasn't a big deal compared to a man's. To say the Prophet came in and transformed their lives is actually an understatement. From his time forward, women could own property. They could inherit from their deceased kin. They could take pledges of allegiance, aka vote, and they could speak up and voice their concerns when there was injustice. And the list goes on and on. And these changes manifest immediately within the life of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Imagine the scene when a female companion of the Prophet goes to the Prophet himself, peace be upon him, and complains about her husband who was treating her unfairly. Imagine the level of comfort, the amount of knowledge and empowerment the Prophet, peace be upon him, must have created, that type of environment where a woman was comfortable to come to the Prophet of God himself and demand her rights. And this type of an environment continued even after the passing of the Prophet, peace be upon him. When Umar ibn Khattab, one of the greatest companions, was caliph, he stood in front of a crowd and announced a new legal ruling. Now, a woman in the crowd hears this legal ruling and stands up. She cites a verse of the Quran to show Umar ibn Khattab that his ruling was incorrect. And what does Umar ibn Khattab do in front of this large crowd? He states, the woman is correct and Umar is wrong. That I have erred, I have made a mistake in front of everyone. That was the environment that they created, the Prophet, peace be upon him, and the companions after him, where both men and women were empowered to speak up and to seek knowledge and build their communities, all in pursuit of God's pleasure. A society where a man as great as Umar al-Khattab didn't let his ego get in the way just because a woman corrected him. And in a society where the Prophet's own wife, Aisha radiallahu anha, may God be pleased with her, becomes one of the greatest scholars in Islam. And this empowerment continues throughout history. We have incredible Muslim women like Zubaydah, who was the wife of an Abbasid caliph, who used her generosity to fund the construction of public water wells for everyone to benefit from. You have Lubna al-Qurtubiyya, or Lubna of Cordoba, who was a grammarian and mathematician. Fatima al-Fihri, who funded and built the world's first university in present-day Morocco. And the West African scholar Nana Asma'u, who was a leader in her community as well as a poet. Now, it's of course not enough to look back at the history and reminisce on these images while neglecting the unfortunate reality of many Muslim women today. But it's also important to recognize that some of these unfortunate circumstances that we find ourselves in today are actually rooted in political and cultural influences. But Muslim women are beginning to recognize that. And they're beginning to make the distinction in order to revive that prophetic precedent, that Islamic spirit of empowerment and commitment in order for women to build themselves and their communities.